Hello everybody, it's me. Um, so, the reason I'm making this video is I'm a Doctor Who fan. I used to go to Ashton Market when I was young, and I'm in my mid-20s and more or less. And when I was a kid, I used to go to Ashton Market and I used to buy VHS tapes of Doctor Who, and I loved it. I loved Doctor Who. I loved the format of the show. I loved the introduction theme. I loved everything about it. Okay, some episodes weren't so great. Some episodes were pretty piss poor. Some of them just come across as too cheap. But I loved it. Even the bad episodes had a kind of formula that it stuck to, and it felt like Doctor Who. No matter how subpar some episodes maybe, it still felt like Doctor Who for the most part. And there was a number of things that you expected from Doctor Who and a number of things that you didn't expect from Doctor Who. And the reason I'm making this video is because I woe in a sort of anger at what Doctor Who has become since the reboot of 2005. The reboot has been a complete bastardization of Doctor Who and what has become a political project. It is completely liberal in what it is, and it takes liberal to an just far too extreme, just such an extreme. And the way it is, what Doctor Who used to be was, it used to be a sort of Sherlock Holmes in space kind of thing, a sort of theatre kind of like production. An investigative Sherlock Holmes in space with aliens. That's what it was. And just, I think it was a couple of seasons ago. Right, basically there is a lesbian alien human relationship now. Okay. Why, I don't know. But that's it. And I tried to watch an episode, I think earlier this season. I only watched about 3-4 episodes, I don't know, of this season of Doctor Who. And I saw one episode with the lesbian alien relationship, and it's like, well, we're married, you know, we're married. They keep bringing up they're married. And if you are progressive, if you're trying to progress, if you're doing it the correct way, all you have to do is present them people like that as normal, as ordinary. As you don't, for instance, you don't say, well, I'm gay, I'm homosexual, I'm gay. You don't do that. You just treat them like ordinary people. The gayness isn't an identity. You know, like, it's not. People who, for instance, who are gay, they do not always identify as gay. They just want to be treated as ordinary human beings. There are some people that don't and want to be in the identity politics, but most people, like Michel Foucault, for instance, just want to live their lives without being subject to all of this intrusion. But so okay, and just today, and this is a spoiler, but today I saw in The Guardian. I hate that paper. I hate it. I fucking hate it. I can't fucking stand it. But I keep returning to it because there is actually some very good reporting in there. It's just the cultural Marxist crap comments. What's her name? Ellen Barber or something like that. That kind of crap. Anyway, I read in The Guardian that the Master, who has always been male, right from the beginning, is now going to be a female. And guess what The Guardian think of it? Oh yeah, you know what The Guardian is going to think of it, yeah. They're delighted, they're fucking ecstatic. And why wouldn't they be? Because they think this is going to be the open way for a female Time Lord. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine I don't even know TV programs, but can you imagine Sex in the City or something like Downtown Abbey, or I don't know, what do women watch? But can you imagine if they replaced that character with a female leaded character? Perhaps the woman in Alien, for instance, that woman who survived in Alien. if they replaced her with a man. Yeah, it is offensive. It is offensive, and yeah, okay, it's fiction. I know it's fiction, but Doctor Who is a big part of UK identity. It's a part of it. It's like Saint George. Saint George, and all of that may be a myth. A lot of these are myths that we base our culture on, but you wouldn't have, for instance, Jesus, for instance, as a female. And I know this is a bit of an exaggeration. I'm not trying to get into sacrilegious kind of crap. I'm just saying that it's a big part of our culture, and when you bastardize something like that, even if as an atheist, when I hear people criticize Jesus, for instance, even I get a bit defensive, because Jesus was a pretty good man. Even if I'm an atheist, I still recognize that Jesus was very, very ahead of his time, and which I respect Jesus as a person who lived 2,000 years ago, and basically civilizing what was back then pretty much a savage like a nation at the time. But anyway, I'm digressing. So they think this is going to be the key for a male, for the male Doctor Who to become a female Doctor Who. They're testing the waters, and the Guardian, I'll link below, they're ecstatic about that. And this is a really it is a real I don't think it's an isolated thing. I think this is a big part of our culture, and it's to do with the feminization of society. It's the feminization of, like, take for instance firefighters. The reason why we call them firemen for such a long time is because it is predominantly, and still is predominantly, men who sacrifice their lives because of firefighters. But they've got to change the name now to from firemen to firefighters, because, well, because there's a minority of women in there, and men apparently is offensive. And it's, by doing that, by calling it firefighters, what you do is you basically, you take away any of the reward from which is male disposability. You take any of that reward away from it. Just like how plaques, for instance, reward through a sort of mean kind of way. War, for instance, war heroes, that kind of stuff. And this is very much on that lines. It is a way of trying to turn society into female, and devaluing the contribution of men. And I don't like it. I hate it. I really despise this. I really, really do. It really is metaphorically what is happening with society. It is a way of saying men need to be changed to become women. That is what it is. It is a literal in a metaphorical way, that men need to start becoming like women, because that is progression. That is progressive. Being female is superior, and it's to do with the whole binary of good and bad. Men being bad, females being good. It's, yeah. So that's just my rant. Let me know what you think about this. I hate what's happened to Doctor Who. I really do. I love Doctor Who, what it was. I really did. I loved it what it was. I wish 2005 it had stayed the same format, because the format back then, it worked for so many decades. It worked. It didn't need changing. It just needed rebooting and some money. It needed some actual funds. But no, instead we got Aliens of London. We got Moffat. We got Russell T Davies.